So the time is finally upon us. The great Shuhei Yoshida of PlayStation is retiring. I wanted to take this time to create this video because there are some very, very interesting circumstances that are brewing because of this. First and foremost, you have gamers, unified developers, and so forth that are coming out there on social media and giving Shuhei his flowers, including myself. That's why we're making this video. And then you also have this wild dynamic of gamers that, support other platforms or other green boxes. They used to clown Shuhei for years and say that the games that he made were walking simulators, the stuff that he influenced was trash and overrated garbage, right? Now they're saying, hey, Shuhei, come over and support our green box, right? Well, let me tell you, as a former green box supporter myself, let me tell my former comrades, don't hold your breath. You're gonna hear that a lot through this video. But there is a lot to learn from Shuhei's tenure at PlayStation. What a great leader, such great leadership. And the questions that we want to delve into is, did the PlayStation brass that's currently in charge, did they pick up on this leadership? And then secondly, and more entertaining and comical, these people that now want Shuhei to come over to Greenville, you do realize it's not happening, right? For one. And for two, but what have you learned? Why this? Do you understand why this wouldn't work there? Huh? Has it not sunken in yet? Well, if it hasn't, we're here to help. Join us. The Spill. Shuhei Yoshida retiring. What is it going to mean for gaming and PlayStation's competitors? Let's get into it. This is The Spill. What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy, MM2K of Hard Knock Digital Culture, Cloud Dosage, MM2K Gaming, back again with another episode of The Spill. This is where we talk about the latest and greatest in video gaming news. And man, oh man, oh man, do we have a great one for you today. Shuhei Yoshida retiring. What does it mean for gaming in PlayStation's competitors? Before we get into this one, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping these doses. All right. So, yes, it's happening. He's retiring, man. He's retiring, and wow. I mean, let's do this. Let's take a look at just some of his contributions. This is a tweet that I sent out, and I said, Shuhei, having someone like Shuhei behind your quality gaming effort is invaluable. This man has co-signed Naughty Dog, heavily influenced God of War reboot, influenced Stellar Blade, and much more. He will be heavily missed. I hope his influence will spread to new leadership, right? What am I talking about? Well, there's been this quarrel. Some of it was started by David Jaffe. We kind of ignored some of what David Jaffe was saying. And some of it might be true, where when Jim Ryan came in and Herman Hulst, when it was the Jim Ryan, Herman Hulst era of PlayStation, with Jim Ryan there, even though there were some hiccups, there were a lot of great things that came out of it. The Portal, Helldivers 2, PlayStation 5 is a phenomenal piece of machinery. He would have greenlit the PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, a lot of great stuff that came out of that. He's retired now, and now we're left with Herman Hulst and Hiroki Totoki in charge with the other CEO of the hardware. Now the hardware CEO, and his name leaves me right now. I deeply apologize. I think they're good there. When it comes to Jim Ryan and Hiroki Totoki, I am concerned. Herman Hulst and Hiroki Totoki, I'm concerned. Hiroki Totoki, you can tell, is like the Satya Nadella of PlayStation. He has no acclimation to the culture. He just wants to make money. And so he's doing some bonehead things, some bonehead initiatives. We see with Lego Horizons and the abysmal failure that was, and some of these other things that he's doing with releases to PC and stuff like that to try to extrapolate more money out of PlayStation IP. And it's not working because he doesn't understand the culture. So this is what happens when you put a money man in charge of something as delicate as gaming, and especially when it's delicate for a company like PlayStation, who tried to rebuild itself after the miscues of the PlayStation 3, and they really built a very solid system. And now you got this guy coming in here, you know, eradicating some very major sensitive pillars, you know, that could have long-time negative ramifications on PlayStation if someone doesn't stop him before he goes too far. So we got that, but that always would have been outside of Yoshida's helm. The thing that really would have been in Yoshida's helm is the head of Worldwide Studios now, Herman Hulst, who has made some questionable decisions. Concord being one, and of course the Lego Horizon thing, which I really don't think it was him. I think that was more Hiroki Totoki trying to squeeze and extrapolate more money out of IPs. But Concord, the faith that the reports are saying that he put behind Concord, it's like, why? And it beckons back to something that Dave Jaffe, the creator of God of War, said, that I think her name was Connie Booth. I believe that's her name, that one of the producers at PlayStation was let go abruptly. Her and her team was sent out, and that was on the demand of Herm Hulst and Jim Ryan. And it's like, did Connie maybe see some of this problematic IP and said, no, we don't believe in this? And Herm Hulst was like, see, I don't need you usurping my authority here. Get out. So that could be problematic. I really feel like there are many wheels or many cogs in the wheel of PlayStation, and PlayStation's leadership does a great job in making sure that not one person does too much damage. But I'm hopeful that during his tenure there, Yoshida, again, the one that has brought us things like God of War, right? And things like, the Stellar Blade and all these other great pieces of content. I'm hopeful that something was cascaded and passed down to Herman Hulst, because maybe this just could be just a rocky beginning, and maybe he learns from that, and hopefully Yoshida can help him along the way, and he's open and receptive to it. I know when Jim Ryan and Herm Hulst took over, Yoshida went to the independent space, but apparently he still had a lot of influence, because as you can see here, he still brought in games like Stellar Blade, right? And Stellar Blade, I'm telling you, this generation is like one of my top 3 games this generation. Like, I love this game. And the thing that has pulled me in even further is the fact that I'm not into to the Souls, like parrying, locking, fighting a monster for 5 minute type. I'm not into that, right? But because they did it so well here with the aesthetics and the atmospherics and the gameplay loop or whatever, it's so enthralling that it pulls me in, and I just love the game. I love everything about the game. And I hope that there is someone with a keen eye like Shuhei, who went to Cory Barlog in 2018 and with the 2018 God of War and said, no, this is not good enough. You got to redo this. We need that type of leadership, and hopefully this was just a rocky beginning by Herman Hulst, and we will see that type of leadership from him because he's learning from Shuhei, right? It's been passed down. That being said, there's something else peculiar happening. I said this in the bumper. We got people that are I say this in the tweet. Let me explain it through my tweet. I see a lot of people wanting Yoshida to come to Xbox. Don't hold your breath. Shuhei doesn't put arbitrary. I don't want that in my game. Hollywood standards, i.e. Stellar Blade, would have never been greenlit as an Xbox exclusive. Would never work while Phil's there. And here's why I say this. Shuhei is cut from the cloth of PlayStation. Again, the rebuild after the PlayStation 3. Them realizing that they do need some of their studios pumping out more. They need to control their own destiny. They see that gamers have gravitated more towards Western developed games. So they've mastered that craft. And you got to give kudos to Sony for that. Something that they had no expertise in whatsoever, They took on the challenge, and now they're the masters at that craft. That's insane. And they went through that phase all within like one generation. They started at the beginning of the generation, having no clue to it and getting clobbered because they didn't know what to do with it. By the time they got to the end of the PlayStation 3 generation, they had Last of Us 2. That was the, which was at the core of their formula for, a lot of their AAA games, and it just spread and helped their development going into the PlayStation 4 now, right? So another thing that has happened that is irregular of Xbox, and why Shuhei would never fit over there. Not just the quality AAA games, understanding what it takes to make them. Like, you don't see the type of leadership at Xbox where Shuhei told Cory Barlog, you got to go back and redo that. This is not good enough with God of War 2018. Somebody should have looked at Crackdown. Somebody should have looked at Redfall. Even Starfield in a lot of regards. This ain't right. You got to redo this. There's not that level of quality. It's just, again, I look at Shuhei Yoshida and I look at what they do at PlayStation. And they're like gold miners, right? Where even with gold mining, you may do a lot of digging through dirt, and 95% of the dirt that you dig through, you find nothing. But in that 5%, when you find those gold reserves, now everybody's, cruising on yachts, right? If you don't understand what I'm talking about, or you think I'm just babbling, let me show you something. This is something that Xbox people, this is at the core of why Xbox people don't understand why they're losing, why PlayStation is winning. They want to attribute it to media bias and all this other stuff. But a lot of you that are making these assumptions that the games are overrated, it's media bias or whatever, you guys are new. You just got into gaming a few years ago because you want to be part of the console wars. You got nothing else better to do with your time. You got no friends or whatever. And you're oblivious of the culture of gaming. Most of us that actually game know all this stuff and know why PlayStation is successful. We know why Xbox with the 360 era was able to successfully thwart PlayStation's dominance and give them a run for their money and almost send them into bankruptcy. We understand why all that happened. Because of this formula that I'm about to break down to you right now. And it's a formula that PlayStation is perfecting and why they are dominant. And it's going to be next to impossible to dethrone them as a competitor. You're going to have to do it. They might have to dethrone themselves by making a bunch of bonehead mistakes. This is an article from 2014. I want to show that to you. See that? July 4th, 2014. And let me just read you this first excerpt, this first part first. This was, it says, Sony Computer Entertainment has been known to publish quite a few games that haven't exactly been financial breakthroughs, yet they seem to not be able to give up on that kind of experience, as explained by Worldwide Studios president Shuhei Yoshida during his panel at Game Lab in Barcelona a few days ago. So hold on, let's go over this first part again. Sony Computer Entertainment has been known to publish quite a few games that haven't exactly been financial breakthroughs. Haven't we heard that before? We've heard that more recently, right? Well, again, a lot of these Similac mouth, wet behind the ears gamers, Concord and Lego Horizon, they're bad. PlayStation is in trouble. We've been hearing that for years from these zealots over there on the green side, right? They'll see a PlayStation game not do well. See, it's all over. Days Gone didn't do well. The PlayStation's going to crap the bed. Look at the stock price. We've been hearing this forever. But those of us that don't just run in these green circles, these gangrene circles, and actually look at everything from 5,000 feet, we understand what's going on. There's a formula that they're running. And it's quite a remarkable formula and a brave formula to run. But when you have a good system behind it, you minimize the risk. What is the formula? Well, Shuhei breaks it down 10 years ago. He says, when you look at what we do, managing studios and managing funds, That's essentially what we do, to look for talent and support talent, because at the end of the day, it's the people that create amazing things, and it's the creative team that makes breakthroughs. It's a hit-driven business. We look at our financial results of the titles, and probably 3 or 4 out of the 10 make money. And maybe 1 or 2 make all the money to cover the cost of the other titles. So we have to be able to maintain that hit ratio at a certain level to be able to continue in the business. So we always try to find out and support and help grow the talent. That's the most important work that I believe myself and some of my management team at the Worldwide Studios are doing. Okay, so what is Shuhei Yoshida saying for you Gang Green listeners that don't understand logic or winning logic? Look, we have to sell this stuff. You know what? Let me go back. Let me read a little bit more because it explains why they take such a risk. He said, there are lots of opportunities. There's so many projects that we want to do. And especially there's so many different techs, platforms, and or devices that we can release games. But we have finite resources and budget. We have to make selection choices. One of the things we always come back to when we're looking at 5 potential projects is that we choose a team we believe in. When we start working with a new team, that's really, really important. Okay, why did I go back and read the following one? Because even back in 2014, when they have all these devices that they're trying to sell, the PlayStation Vita, I believe at the time, and PlayStation 3 and 4, and all these other things that they're trying to sell. I think there was like a PlayStation device that can ping your PlayStation 4 to said device or something like that. I vaguely remember, right? When they have these devices that they're trying to sell, and they have finite resources and budgets, they do have to hit a hit ratio. But they can take great risks with that hit ratio, meaning that he gave you the hit ratio. 4 out of 10. That's 40%. So if all they got to do is be successful with 40%, that means that 60% can be failures, and they're more than good. So we go back to the beginning of the article where it says in 2014, Sony Gaming Computer Entertainment has been known to publish quite a few games that haven't been financial breakthroughs. So how can you absorb a 60% failure rate? Because those 40% are so good, they bring you to our devices and our money balloons. So you hear a lot of the Gang Green people say, oh, they're trying to make it all about consoles. They're trying to make it, yes, it's about consoles and marketplace. Why? Because Sony makes money off the consoles. So if you see these games, whether when they're actually released, if they sell well or not, you see these array of games, you see them in a wide structure, in a wide circle of genres or whatever, that tantalizes you more than their games. So you go over to them, you're willing to pay the money for the expensive devices, than you are willing to pay $20 for their slop, for their shovelware across the street. You're willing to pay for quality. Those games bring you to the yard. So even if they land kind of flat or if they don't sell a lot, they already got you hook, line, and sinker. You bought the console. Now they can make the real money off the marketplace, because Sony never made the abundance of their money off of their exclusives. Their exclusives are like candy. They bring you, there's like a little candy trail to bring you to the yard. The real money is made in the marketplace. So you buy Call of Duty there with them versus buying it across the street. You get your Fortnite DLC with them versus getting it across the street. That's where the real money is made. And in order to get you to their marketplace, they got to have these extra games, aka exclusives, that makes their marketplace look more tantalizing than the other marketplace. That's what it's all about. It's been a winning formula since they've perfected the hit ratio. And Sony's out here giving master classes. And instead of you on the Gang Green side not paying attention, you need to pay attention to that and understand why Shuhei would never come over there. This is the main reason. The main reason he would never come over there is because you guys don't invest you don't take these risks. It's got to sit there and make money immediately, or Sachi's not going to deal with it. When he first came over, They had Tomb Raider as a timed exclusive. That didn't work out for them. They pretty much abandoned timed exclusives until Stalker 2. You're not going to win the day with that. And then they wanted to just buy prominent IP and not know how to manage it properly. And that's why you're getting the mess and the slop that you're getting today. So, again, it's more than evident that it's like the scenario I gave you before. Sony's gold miners. Yeah, there's a lot of dirt you got to dig through, and you're not going to find success through most of the dirt that you dig through. But when you find it, it's going to be so influential. It's going to be so influential. Like he said, all we need is a hit ratio of 40%. But we're running into situations because we've perfected our model so well that all it takes is 20% to fund everything. Not 20%. Those are your God of Wars. Those are your Horizons. Those are your Last of Us, right? Your Ghost of Yatais or Ghost of Tsushima. Those are the 20%. The other 40% are your Stellar Blades, your Final Fantasy VII Rebirths, your Astrobots. They don't sell a gazillion copies, but they do well enough to where they hit well enough to their target demographic and it helps influence that target demographic to come over there, buy said games, and then, more importantly, spend money in their marketplace for the multiplats. That's why I said Sony is gold miners. Where Xbox, on the other hand, they're full gold sellers. What do I mean by that? Satya Nadella and Phil Spencer said, hold on, why would we waste our efforts to dig through all this dirt just for the reserves that we want to only be in 5% of that dirt? Why do that? Why have so much care for quality? Let's just make fool's gold. Let's just manufacture fool's gold. Let's just buy up companies that make fool's gold and just sell it to people. People that aren't necessarily looking for quality, that just want something shiny on their neck. Just as long as they don't hold it there too long so their neck doesn't turn green. Right? The irony. But but Xbox is fool's gold sellers where PlayStation is gold miners. And you guys don't understand the formula. You don't understand why the device is important, because it's the gateway to the marketplace. And the need to sell the device keeps the exclusives honest, because you're not selling a $400, $500 device with lukewarm exclusives. How do we know that? Look at Xbox. You got to have stellar exclusives in order to convince somebody to buy a $400 or $500 device that's only worth gaming on, right? I mean, I know there's multimedia stuff on it, but you can go get a Fire Stick to do all that stuff. And the proof isn't in the pudding yet that, oh, well, you can have the same sense of urgency over subscription services. Name what subscription services you know about that has stellar games all in it. Name one. Nintendo ain't putting their stellar games in the subscription service day and date. There's a reason for that. Neither is PlayStation. There's a reason for that. So for those of us that want quality, and quality wins the day in AAA genre defining gaming, not volume, not access. It's quality that wins the day in this field. Shuhei Yoshida is an architect behind that. But there's another reason why Shuhei would never come to Xbox. And I say it here in this tweet. I said, having someone like Shuhei Yoshida behind your game's quality is effort is invaluable. No, that was the other tweet. See, a lot of people wanting Shuhei to come to Xbox. Don't hold your breath. Shuhei doesn't put arbitrary, I don't want that in my game, Hollywood standards. Yeah, I said it. I.e. Stellar Blade would have never been greenlit as an Xbox exclusive. Would never work for Phil. There, right? It's not happening. It would not happen because of those arbitrary things. Sony said a long time ago, remember after the Paris game show, I think it was 2018 or 2017, when they were showing clips of Last of Us, and somebody from the Sun said, oh no, that's just a woman beater simulator, right? And Sony came out and said, look, cut the crap. We make mature games for mature gamers. They stood 10 toes down. Yoshida's cut from that cloth. Again, like I said, having someone like Yoshida behind your gaming efforts is invaluable. This man has co-signed Naughty Dog, heavily influenced God of War, Reboot, influenced Stellar Blade, and much more. He will be heavily missed. Hope his influence will spread to new leadership. So in closing, number one, I do hope that Herm Hulst has Yoshida on speed dial, because he's going to need it. They got a lot to prove. And I don't feel like, oh, PlayStation is going to be doomed if Herman Hulst makes mistakes. If he makes enough mistakes, like they've done with everybody else, he'll get booted. They'll find a replacement. Sony has done that throughout the years. That being said, for his sake, I hope that he has Yoshida on speed dial. And for my friends that want this activity, to this success to come to Xbox, Phil's going to have to go. They have developed a system to where, like I said, they want to be fool's gold sellers. Yoshida is a gold miner. He mines for gold, meaning he'll go do the hard work. He'll keep digging. But quality is job one. And under Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella, Xbox is not set up for that. Yoshida, you'll be heavily missed. Thank you for your contributions, my friend. Thank you for turning a non-believer into a believer like myself, and your contributions to gaming, let alone PlayStation, will be cherished for years to come. You have a lot that you can teach people, and hopefully you still, will be instrumental in mentoring a lot of people in the field. Like I said, please keep your phone close for Herman Hulst, because he's gonna need to talk to you, bro. With that said, that's it from your boy. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, because like I always say, I'm curious what I think. But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. They will lead you to our Not Digital Culture, Cloud Dosage, MM2K Gaming. With that said, peace. Have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day.